My name is Danae Jones. I'm 17 years old and I'm currently in grade 11 at Willow Crescent Secondary School. I am worried about the rate at which the rhinos are being killed. This problem has escalated, and what really worries me the most is that if this doesn't stop, we will have no rhino left. Rhinos have been around for millions of years, since the age of the dinosaur. Long before mankind settled on the planet, and if rhinos were meant to be extinct, surely evolution would have taken place by now. I've read recently that scientists and conservationists have come up with measures to curb rhino poachings, using the ectoparasiticide, the indelible dye, and Rhino DNA index system, RODIS in abbreviation. Between 1st to the 23rd of January this year, 11 rhinos were already poached. So I'm here trying to calculate the year in which rhinos will extinct. In last year, 448 rhinos were killed. Right now we have 22,000 rhinos left. Times it by the 20 hours gives us 440,000 hours divided by 24 hours gives us 18,333 days, plus minus 50 years. We plus it with the present year. If 448 rhinos are killed each year, and if the birth rate is at 0%, 2062 we have reached our extinction of rhinos. So I'm going to meet Mark Stichling, a conservationist from the organization Mission Rhino. I think he is the right person to speak to about what is being done to save the rhino.
Mission Rhino is an NGO, and we are dedicated to trying to save our rhinos, both black and white. We do this by assisting small rhino owners and by doing education work in schools. We also organise marches to make the public aware of what is happening to our rhino.
What is the difference between the white rhino and the black rhino?
Danae, in the background there you'll see two white rhinos just walking past. The differences between the white rhino and the black rhino: one is their lips. The white rhino has a wide mouth, it's a grass eater, and the black rhino has a hook lip and it eats leaves and twigs, etc. The other difference is in the ears. White rhino's ears are more elongated, whereas black rhino's ears are more rounded and shorter. Also, the white rhino is about double the weight fully grown as of a black rhino, and also the white rhino has a noticeable hump on their front shoulders.
Which rhino is being poached most between the black rhino and the white rhino?
Most of the poaching is white rhinos for two reasons. One, the numbers. There are far more white rhinos than black rhinos. And secondly, the terrain that they live in. Black rhinos tend to live in very thick thorn bush and therefore are hard to find. And white rhinos live in grasslands. And if you imagine grasslands, they're open and they're easy to spot. One of our problems is that last year we recovered 33 rhino horns in Hong Kong, and we have no way of proving where those rhino horns came from. Now, once RODIS has been done on every single rhino, we would have a method whereby the legal side could actually successfully prosecute people who have rhino horns in their possession. Here's a pack that you can read.
In the research documents that Ma gave me to read through, I came across Dr. Harper's name. She is the right person to speak to about RODIS.
RODIS is a DNA database that we've put together for the rhinoceros specifically, and the aim is to put DNA fingerprints of hopefully every single rhinoceros on that database.
What is the rhino horn made of?
Initially it was believed that rhino horn is made of a clump of hair that just stuck together. But we know now, and it has been published before, that rhino horn is actually made of cellular tubules that grow out from the skin on the nose of the rhino. And that's also the reason why we can extract DNA from the horn so successfully. It's because of these cellular tubules. So you get cells basically from the base all the way to the tip of the horn, and therefore it has DNA all the way from the base to the tip, unlike hair, which doesn't.
What I'm doing is, this is a rhino sample that we've got, and how we take our samples is we just drill put it in a small tube. That's all we use for our rhino samples, just that much of horn. Our blood samples, you just mix the tube well, and we just use 50 microliters of blood, and this goes into a tube, and that's the amount of blood that we use. What happens after that is we take a lysis buffer that's going to break open all of the cells and release DNA. We use 1 milliliter of that, and you just add it straight into your samples, and then this will go on a heated shaker for about an hour, and that's how long the extraction process takes. So we just put the samples in, and that will now mix and heat the samples and break open all the cells to release the DNA.
And the extracted DNA is then, it goes through a process which we call the PCR process, which is our polymerase chain reaction, which basically means that you take little bits of DNA and you amplify it or photocopy it and make millions of copies that you can actually visualize it. Then it gets put onto a special instrument that will allow you to see what you have made, and that will then put your DNA fingerprint in a digitized form using computer technology. So that is the basic process that we follow.
Today, Mark and I are going to the Rhino and Lion Park, where we will be witnessing the treatment with a rhino named Spencer. After that, I will be spending some time with Lorinda Ahern, who is the marketing manager of the Rhino and Lion Nature Reserve. According to my research, Dr. Charles van Niekerk has treated a number of rhinos before. It is, however, the first time the media has been invited to witness the treatment of a rhino. Although this looks painful, Spencer cannot feel anything because he has been sedated. Why are rhinos being poached?
Rhinos are poached because unfortunately there is a misconception that exists in especially eastern countries like China, Korea and Vietnam, that the horn contains some form of medicinal value. So in other words, if you suffer from some condition or you have a disease, then the rhino horn has the potential to cure this disease. And it's unfortunately completely untrue. Rhino horn is made up of the same type of substance as our nails. So it would be like chewing your own nails and thinking that it's going to cure a cold.
Why did you decide to have your rhinos treated with the ectoparasiticide?
Well, we had a very bad poaching incident here at the reserve in 2010 where we lost quite an old rhino cow and a 2-year-old calf, and we found later in an autopsy that she was pregnant at the time. So we effectively lost 3 rhinos to poaching, and we decided that something needed to be done, and something proactive needed to be done to stop rhinos from dying.
How did you find out about rhodas?
I found out through my wildlife veterinarian, the person who works with us here on the reserve. When we wanted to develop the horn treatment program, we said, look, we need to make it as multifaceted as possible. We need to put as many arrows in this quiver as we can. We need to protect the animal with microchipping and with a tracking device and with DNA sampling.
So do you think this will help with the prevention of poaching?
For us, it's definitely helped. We've not had a poaching incident since we've done the treatment on our animals, and we believe that it's something that could work in other private reserves also.
What problems did you face with the ectoparasiticide?
We didn't face any problems with the ectoparasiticide per se. It's a product that's developed and formulated specifically for use on animals, so we knew that it was 100% safe. But as with every procedure where anesthesia is involved, when you have to sedate an animal, you run a risk that the animal might not respond well to the anesthesia. And that's basically the big risk associated with this kind of procedure.
I've asked Dr. Harper if rhodas has helped with investigations of rhino poaching.
We have certainly had some success with using the DNA and rhodas, the database, in some of the investigations that have actually been finalized in the past 1.5 years. And I think the most important one, probably because it was the first case that we really worked on, was the case of a Vietnamese gentleman that was apprehended at Oliver Tambo Airport, and he was trying to export some illegal rhino horn. And we managed to match some of these horns back to poached animals. And then he was convicted for, or sentenced for 10 years as a result of being connected to a poaching as opposed to just trafficking the rhino horn. So that's a very important breakthrough.
As rhino poachers intensify their mission of wiping out the rhino population, conservationists and scientists are doing their bit to curb rhino poachings by contaminating the horn with the ectoparasiticide and the indelible dye, making it unsuitable for human consumption, yet 100% safe for the rhino, and thanks to rhodas, the poachers and all who support them by purchasing the horns will be punished.
We do this for the sheer love of animals. That is conservation. Wanting to keep animals alive for future generations, that is conservation. And not only animals, entire ecosystems. And once one animal disappears from that ecosystem, it's a domino effect, and many other species are affected by that. To me, true conservation means looking beyond the money that you can make off an animal in the short term to the value that that animal has over its entire lifetime, which is incalculable.